The Tudors is about King Henry VIII and his court, young King Henry VIII and his court, rather than the popular image of the, fat and very, very ill Henry VIII, which is which one often sees in portraits. It's focusing on the younger version of him and his friends, his court, and the beginning of what we know as of Henry VIII. And it's following that original journey. And my character is Charles Brandon. He is a confidant of the king, best friend. They grew up together due to the fact that King Henry's father and Charles Brandon's father were also close. Charles Brandon's father was King Henry's father's standard bearer at the Battle of Bosworth, and King Henry and Charles grew up together. And so they're very close friends. Even though Charles had no official title, he was a Mr., which is how Charles Brandon starts in the story. He starts as Mr. Brandon. They are very, very close. Charles Brandon is the only person who can actually effectively compete with Henry and beat him with no fear of repercussion. I mean, he really can't keep his dick in his pants. He just, excuse me. He loves women. He chases them all over the place. As one of the lines go, one of Margaret's fantastic lines, he can love for, a year, a month, a day, an hour, and then that's it. And he'll love fantastically for that period of time, and then move on. Charles has pushed it too far. Normally, he had pretty much free reign wherever he went in court. He could say whatever he wanted to whoever he wanted. And because he's King Henry's best mate, no one can touch him. But with Margaret, he just went too far, because he marries Margaret, and again, without asking Henry, which is the most important thing. He marries into the royal family without asking Henry, and also had potential for causing a political disaster. Young, vibrant, athletic, fit. I mean, he really was this man of incredible power, and the image of what a king would be. And Charles and him were very similar. Played sport all the time, hunting, jousting, sort of a great camaraderie. It's like sort of a rugby team or something. You're always competing with each other. But it's on a far more deadly scale when it comes to jousting, for example, which was a blood sport. You could quite easily die. And, you're charging each other on enormous horses with huge amounts of armour on and a great big stick in your hand. You've got to be careful, because you really don't want to knock the king off, because you're threatening the royal line. You're basically making a personal attack on the king, so everyone deliberately lost to him. It's quite a fun game, actually. When the tutor came over to train us, it was really interesting. It's like a cross between squash and tennis, and it's a fantastic sport. You're playing off the walls and everything, and the whole point is, instead of playing tennis where you're supposed to get it past someone, the whole point is to play it so it bounces on the ground, then off the back wall, and then as close as possible to the back wall, because that's a point, and then you have to. They can only get a point if they beat that mark close to the wall or something. It's quite complicated to begin with, but a very fun sport. It's not about power at all. It's about control and spin, lots and lots of backspin on every shot. You couldn't ask for a better place to be the best friend of a king, because you haven't got the responsibilities of the king, and you're untouchable. And people will always want to get into your favour, to oust other people out of court, because you've got the king's ear.